I'm Marin. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my next round of Bookopoly. This time choosing my books for July. So let's go ahead and get into it. As always, let's go ahead and start off with how I did with my June TBR. So my first roll landed me on thriller, and for that I chose This Book Will Bury Me by Ashley Winstead, which I did read. My next roll landed me on the spot for the Literally Dead book club, and the June pick was Eat the Ones You Love by Sarah Maria Griffin. I have not read this yet, but I am going to get it done before the end of the month, so we'll go ahead and check this one off. My next roll landed me on Community Shelf, and I drew the prompt cursive title. For that, I chose Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, and I did not read this, and I'm not going to get it done before the end of the month, so this is my first official unfinished book. My next roll landed me on historical. For that, I chose The Blackbird Girls by Anne Blankman, and I have not read this one either, and I am not going to get to it because the vlog that this is for has been pushed back, so this is another fail. My next roll landed me on randomize, so I let Goodreads pick a random book from my want to read list. It selected All That's Left to Say by Emery Lord. I actually DNF'd this, so for the purpose of the game, it is complete. Not that it matters because I have two books I didn't finish, but you know, we are finished with this one. My next roll landed me on Treat Your Shelf, and I decided to pick up Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole, which I did read. And the final roll landed me on Buzzword. For that, I chose Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall, and I did read this one. So at the end of June, I have 3 books that I have not yet read. This one is going to get done because it is for the Literally Dead book club. It's pretty short, and I know I can crank it out in a couple of days, but these 2 are not going to get read, so I did officially fail the TBR. This is the 2nd month in a row. I read quite a bit in June. I just didn't read what I was supposed to read, so there you go. So because I did not finish June's TBR, I will be picking a challenge prompt. I did pick one in June that was to read a nonfiction, which I did complete because I read Hood Feminism, so I finished that challenge prompt. Let's go ahead and mix these up, and then we'll see what I have to do in July, and hopefully I can actually finish this TBR and not have to pick another one of these, but let's see. All right, I'm gonna go with this one. Okay, this one says all books must come from my owned TBR, which is difficult because, as I've mentioned previously, I do rely pretty heavily on the library, but that's okay. We're gonna see what I can manage to get done with this in mind and the rolls that I'm about to do. So let's go ahead and head on over to the game board and see what July has in store for me. As a reminder, I do still have these 2 reward prompts from previous month, so I'll go ahead and set those here. And then of course my challenge is that I have to pick books from my own TBR. So let's see what the rolls have in store for me. Here's roll 1. And we're starting with a double. Isn't that nice? Okay, we have a 12. And that is romance. I can definitely do that. All right, as you saw, roll 1 landed me on romance. I am actually going to use this pick to finish a book that I started months ago and stopped halfway through on. So that is going to be First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. I just was not feeling this when I read it the first time. I got halfway through. I'm actually on chapter 18. So I'm gonna finish this book with this prompt. Maybe that's a little bit of cheating, but I need like the push to finish this because I've not really felt any compulsion to pick this up. I'm not loving the male main character, and I was listening to this on audio, so maybe I need to try it physically, but I own it. It works for this prompt, so it's what we're going with, even if it is a little cheating. All right, roll 2. We We have a 5. That is a big book. Roll 2, as you saw, landed me on big book. For me, this is a book over 500 pages. I have a couple things that I could pick for this. One of them is way over 500, but I'm not sure that I'm going to have the time to actually get that read, just based on other things I want to read in July. So instead, I'm going to go with the next Magnolia Parks book, which is The Long Way Home. This is book 3 in the series. This one is 524 pages, and it has like ginormous margins, and I can usually get through these decently quickly. I do have the audio of this as well that I own, so this should be a decently quick read, even though it is over 500 pages. Clocks in at 524, so it works for this prompt, and it's the one we're gonna go with. Roll 3. We have 7. Okay, that is skip. That means I do not have to pick a book, so we're gonna roll right into roll 4. Here's roll 4. We have an 8. Okay, thriller. All right, roll 3 was skip, which means I do not have to pick a book, so we're gonna roll into roll 4, which was thriller. I don't own a lot of thrillers because, as a general rule, I do not purchase thrillers because there's no chance that I'm going to be rereading them at any point, but I do have one from Book of the Month, so that's what I'm gonna go with. And that one is Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. I know that this one got quite a bit of buzz and hype last year. I'm looking forward to reading it. I know that the audiobook I think is particularly good, so I'm gonna see if I can get my hands on that, but I do have the physical book, obviously. It's right here, so that's the thriller I'm going to use. Roll 5. We have a 5. Okay, that is random color. So I will pull up a random color generator and pick a book that has that color on the cover. Okay, so I landed on random color, so I am going to use a random color generator to pick that book. It always brings up like a random color to start, so you can see it says bright red orange, but we're gonna go ahead and generate another one. I'm gonna generate it 3 times. So I have 1, 2, 3. Olive gray. Okay, let me have a look. Okay, I had a look at the books that I own, and maybe this is cheating slightly, but I don't actually have a lot of books with olive gray on them. So I'm going to go with We Used to Live Here. This is by Marcus Clewer. I don't know how to pronounce it. I am so sorry. But if you look down here at the bottom, that's matching this olive gray decently well, so it's what I'm gonna go with because it's what I can find in terms of books that I own. So yes, I was gonna read this one anyway, so this is perfect. Again, maybe it's not exactly olive gray, but it's the best I'm gonna get. And hopefully this will be our last roll. Roll 6. Yes, okay, that is a 7. We have nonfiction. All right, roll 6 turned out to be the last roll, which means I really only have 5 books on this TBR, which is very, very nice. That is nonfiction, which is fine because my buzzword book for July is a nonfiction book, and that is Nothing But a Good Time. The Uncensored History, of the 80s Hard Rock Explosion. This is by Tom Boujour and Richard Beanstock, and it is told in the form of like interviews, and I think the audio is also decently well. I own it, but this is what I'm gonna read. This one's thick, so I could have used it for the over 500 pages prompt, but again, this is the only nonfiction that I was planning on reading in July. The buzzword for July is punctuation in the title, and this has a decent amount of punctuation. So we have this accent here, this here, we have this one here. So it's what we're going with. And then I think if you look at the full title on Goodreads, it also has a colon to like divide the title from the subtitle. So plenty of punctuation going on here. So this is the one we're gonna go with. I'm really excited to read this. Some of the people who are doing the interviews are people that I quite enjoy their music from and just them in general. So I'm looking forward to this. Hopefully it will be a good time, haha, as the title says. But yes, this will be the last official book on July's TBR. Okay, there are a couple other things that I do want to try to get to in the month of July. One is the next Nancy Drew. I cannot remember the title. I'm up to number 43, but here's the cover. So I try to read one of those per month. And then I also do need to fit the Buzz cover book, which I believe is something to do with technology. Now, I don't know if this actually qualifies, but it is a form of technology in my opinion. So I will be reading Honey by Isabel Bonta. This is another book of the month book that I have, but it's way up on a shelf that I cannot get to right now. So you're just looking at the cover. And then I will need to read another book from my 2025 TBR. So I'm kind of between two of them. I haven't decided which one I'm gonna read yet, so you should see that in a vlog coming up, but yes. Those are the only other books on July's TBR. So hopefully I will be able to actually finish this TBR and not have to do a challenge prompt in August, but we will see how it goes. Let's go ahead and do a very quick recap and close out this video. All right, book one on the TBR is First Time Caller by BK Borison for my romance prompt. Then I have Magnolia Parks, The Long Way Home for a book over 500 pages or a big book. Then I have Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera for my thriller prompt. We Used to Live Here for my random color, which was olive gray prompt. And finally, Nothing But a Good Time for my nonfiction prompt. So I'm actually very excited about this TBR. Again, they all had to be books that I own because of the challenge prompt that I drew, but here they are. So not too bad. Yes, there are some chunky ones on here, but I definitely think that I can still get them read, and I'm excited to read all of them. I've been really looking forward to reading Listen for the Lie, and it just has not fit on any previous TBRs. And then of course I am always trying to make progress with Magnolia Parks, so there we go. This is my stack for July, and hopefully I will have a good reading month. So that's it. That's going to close out this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel if you would like to see more from me. If you made it to the end of the video and would like to leave an emoji to show you were here, you can leave me the die emoji for the dice that I roll in my game, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.